Chapter 32. A New Friend. It was almost nightfall when Harman and his men returned to Ragnall Castle. Andor rode alongside the king. Nicholas remained in Razel's hut, with Radburn and another soldier to guard them. Harman told the soldiers they could go home, so it was a small group who cantered up to the castle steps where Irina sat, surrounded by the sleeping wolves. "Daughter," said Harman, dismounting. Irina rose to greet him. She had not washed since the battle. She didn't dare leave the wolves in case someone tried to kill them. Her clothes were stained with soil and blood, and her crown was jammed into her hair like a nest of thistles. Andor also dismounted. Standing a few feet away, he looked at the young woman with awe. During their return journey, Harman had told him of Irina's deed on the battlefield. "Irina, no one else could have done what you did today," said Harman. "The kingdom of Ragnall is free because of your bravery. As the king, I am in your debt. As your father, I am very proud." To his surprise, Irina burst into tears and fell into his arms. "What is it?" said Harman, stroking her hair. "Were you worried I would still be angry?" "No," said a muffled voice from his chest. "I'm just glad you're safely home." After a few minutes, Irina pulled away and wiped her eyes. She smiled at the king. When she noticed Andor standing nearby, she took a step backward and folded her arms awkwardly. "Irina, this young man is the son of King Nicholas," Harman said. "His name is Prince Andor." Irina and Andor bowed their heads to one another. Suddenly conscious of the dirt on her skin and clothes, Irina wished she could go and wash. "I've seen you before," she said. "I remember," said Andor. "Why are you here?" The prince seemed so calm and quiet compared to the fierce men she had seen that day. "I have come to do what I can to help King Harman." "You're a bit late, don't you think? Where were you during the battle?" "It's hard to fight a battle when you're locked in a dungeon," said Andor. "It's hard to fight a battle against soldiers who are meant to be your friends," came Irina's harsh reply. "Believe me, Your Highness, my father and I were devastated that we couldn't help." The expression on Andor's face made her ashamed of her hasty words. "But Vilmos at least is slain now. Did you kill him?" At Irina's question, Andor hung his head. He said very quietly, "No, it was not I." Irina looked back at Harman. "I don't know whether to laugh or cry with relief. I can't believe it. Is it really true, Father? Is Vilmos truly dead?" "It is true, dear one. We have nothing more to fear." "But his evil lives on in these poor animals," said Irina. She sat down on the steps next to Durell. Her legs felt weak. "How shall I ever undo what he's done?" "It may not be possible, Irina," said her father as kindly as he could. "I can guess what you would do," she said in a choking voice. "You would put them to death, wouldn't you, when it wasn't their fault?" "I would, without question. They killed many men. They are not safe." "Yes, they are. They will be. I will take responsibility for them, for each and every one of them." "You are very tired, and so am I," said the king. "We will rest and discuss this tomorrow. Please come inside. I will leave soldiers to guard the wolves." "I will not. Someone may try to kill them during the night." So Irina made her bed on the steps by the wolves. She wished there was a simple spell to put the wolves right again, but she knew there was not. Even though she was angry with the king for saying so, There was no denying the wolves might be dangerous. They no longer knew themselves. She could barely sleep for her distress, and when she did sleep, the wolves filled her dreams with their cloudy eyes and two large bodies, pleading for help. "We've lost our packs," they whispered. "We've forgotten how to hunt." Even Durell had lost his independence. Now that Vilmos's savagery had left him, he seemed like an indulged pet dog, sleeping his heavy, sodden sleep beside her. After a long, hard night, Irina found comfort in the radiant colours of sunrise. Dew gleamed on Durell's pelt. The new morning was fragrant and quiet, undisturbed by the tumult of people. Dear old Amicus was nestled onto her shoulder, his wing feathers softly brushing her cheek. Her oldest friend. He had never forgotten or left her, and nor would Irina leave Durell now, when he needed her most. She patted his heavy head where it lay sleeping in her lap. "Shining One," she prayed, "let these animals be restored to their true natures." Some kind soul had left a bowl of warm water and a cloth and a hairbrush. It must have been Octavia. Who else wandered the early morning thinking of the needs of others? Purple buds of lavender floated in the water, scenting it. Irina washed her face and hands, then lifted the bowl onto the step below so she could soak her blistered feet. In the distance, she saw a tall figure out walking, her father's green cape falling from his shoulders to his ankles. When he came nearer, she saw it wasn't Harmon, but Andor. Approaching the steps, he said, "May I sit beside you?" "Yes," she replied. Side by side, they watched the luminous clouds disperse into the clear blue sky. After a time, Andor said, "I heard you were raised by wolves. Is it true?" "Yes." "This wolf, with his head on your lap, belonged to my father," said Andor. "What?" said Irina, incredulous. "How could that be?" Andor didn't answer her question. Instead, he said, "Vilmos made him attack my father, and now he might die from the infected bite." "That's terrible," Irina shuddered. "Durell would never have attacked a human when we were pups." "When I saw him last night, I wanted to kill him," Andor said simply. Irina grew tense. "You will not touch this wolf, nor any of them." "Don't worry, I won't, Wolf Queen," he said. "That's what they're calling you now, you know." "My father wouldn't want me to. He rescued that wolf when he was little more than a pup. We called him Seely." Irina turned to Andor eagerly. "Really? Please, tell me what happened." "It was my very first hunting trip. We were out riding. The image of the horses and the golden flag and the deafening sound of the horses' hooves hitting the stones came into Irina's mind. It was so long ago. "It was the day I saw you by the roadside," said Andor, "looking like a wild creature that I had no name for. We left the road and went to the forest, where we heard the horrible sounds of animals fighting. The sound was terrifying to me. I'd never heard anything like it." "The bear and Durell," said Irina. "Durell is my wolf brother. He was protecting the cubs. Please, go on." This was the story she had longed to hear for years, the story of what had happened that day. How remarkable it was that Andor had been there. "We came through the trees to a rocky hill. At the mouth of a cave we saw a young wolf fighting a huge bear. Even I could see he was losing. My father raised his bow and shot an arrow into the hindquarters of the bear, told his men to bind the animal and lead him far away. My father was so touched by the wolf's bravery that he took him back to Pavel and bandaged his wounds. From then on, Seely protected him. Until Vilmos enchanted him, said Irina, touching Jirel's fur softly. She wondered at the action of King Nicholas. She'd never heard of someone with such authority being so kind to animals, and she was filled with gratitude. If it wasn't for Nicholas, Jirel would be dead. The good things Jirel has done should not be forgotten, said Irina, stroking the fur between his large pointed ears. He's killed men though, Irina. Things have changed. He wasn't himself. But my father won't see it that way. You see, Andor, I was raised beside this wolf. That day was the day I had to leave because he couldn't protect me from the bear. I ran and ran and hid by the road where you saw me. A look passed between them. Andor was about to say something when Octavia appeared, carrying a basket filled with food. At the smell of porridge, Irina's stomach rumbled. Octavia set down the basket, lifted the cloth, and spread it over the steps. Eat well, she said, and left the two of them to enjoy their breakfast. Irina drew out 2 bowls of steaming porridge and handed one to Andor. There was stewed fruit, boiled eggs, bread, and 2 stone jars filled with warm milk. Irina ate thankfully. What a dear Octavia was. Who knows when I will enjoy hot food again, if everything goes according to my plan, she thought to herself. You know, said Andor with a cheeky grin, when my nurse told me stories, the prince and the princess always get married at the end. This is not the end, said Irina, and even if it was, I don't think I'll ever marry. It's too bad we didn't play together as children, said Andor, changing the subject. We would have been friends if you'd grown up here at Ragnar. It's not too late to be friends now, is it? Of course not, said Andor. Well then, my friend, I have something to ask of you.